Now for our first local story, with construction on the Lloydminster Place Arena set to begin in 2023, the focus for the city is securing funding for the $51 million project. City Council appointed a dozen community members to serve on the Lloydminster Place sponsorship and fundraising committees. The two separate groups will work together to help sell sponsorships and create fundraising initiatives that will engage the community and fund the arena.
This is an ideal opportunity to leave a real mark on the community in the form of a legacy, either at Lloydminster Place or any other project that they'd like to earmark.
Lloydminster has applied for funding from other levels of government, including a $33 million grant from Saskatchewan. The city is prepared to contribute local tax dollars to the project, but they hope to collaborate with local businesses to help cover some of the costs.
Creativity will be very important because we're just coming out of a very challenging time, and we know businesses will say, what can we support today and what can we support over the long term? And we hope that people will take that into consideration.
The main Lloydminster Place Arena is expected to seat 2,000 people, with a second full-size arena seating a couple hundred. For the past 11 years, the Lloydminster Public School Division has taken learning beyond the classroom with their hockey academy. As Jasmine King explains, to keep the ball rolling, they've added more sports.
The 2021-22 school year is the first time LPSD is offering their multi-sport academy. The Hockey Academy has seen success over the past decade, with a few of its students landing in the first round of the NHL draft. Now they're hoping to have that same success with other sports.
Our Sports Academy is a program that follows or mimics the schedule that we've got with our Hockey Academy that we've had some success with. Essentially, students 2 days a week, they get some academy time. Now the academy time is split up between kind of 4 main sports and then some exploratories, but basketball, volleyball make up the majority of our training. And then we've got, I guess it's 10 to 12 hours of some badminton and some track and field as well.
The Academy has also partnered with the Hoop Factory to bring in coaches and take the basketball training further. When the division announced they would be doing a multi-sport academy, they had a lot of kids and parents interested.
I think every parent wants their son or daughter to be, to live a healthy lifestyle and enjoy being active instead of, making it a chore. So if we can do that in a little small piece and help develop skills, help engage kids, that way, I guess that's the model here.
The multi-sport aspect of this academy allows more students to become engaged in sports while also getting them out of the classroom around other like-minded kids.
I joined Sports Academy because I love the variety of sports that we can play, and I just like the fitness.
I'm just more focused, and I always look forward to coming to Sports Academy. So on the days that I have Sports Academy, I try to get my work done so the faster I can get to Sports Academy.
Registration for next year's academy opens April 11th. For this week's Beyond the Classroom, I'm Jasmine King.
At Lakeland College, our students are challenged to go beyond the classroom, so when industry knocks, they're ready to thrive. Learn more at lakelandcollege.ca.
STARS helicopters flying through the sky offer a distant view of the life-saving work from rescue teams. Now, however, the air ambulance service is creating another look at the ambulance service.
Today on Primetime Local News, I'm joined by Deborah Tetley from STARS Air Ambulance, and she's here to talk about a new podcast that's taking listeners behind the scenes of STARS rescue missions. So, to you, Deborah, I'll say thank you very much for doing this and welcome to the show. But what can you tell our viewers just about this podcast?
Hi, Tate. Thanks for having me. And, essentially what it's about is we're so lucky that after we care for patients, we carry them in our helicopter or care for them at the side of the road or in hospitals, they reach out to us and they thank us, and then they ask if they can meet their crews. So we do everything that we can to facilitate, them meeting their crews and being able to say thank you or hug them or, whatever they need to do as part of their journey. And then inevitably they share their stories with us. And these stories are not just what happened, prior to their incident or their illness, but what happened along their journey, what they remember from, the care that we gave them. And then, more often than not, they talk about all the things that they're able to do in life after that, goals and milestones and, life experiences that they got to have after being cared for. And so these stories are always so rich. People are so emotional. And we just really wanted to try to find a different way to showcase some of these stories. Obviously, we can't tell them all. My bosses won't let me have a full-time job doing podcasting, but there's just some stories that need a little bit more than a video or a little bit more than a story or a post on social media. So we wanted to just find a way to share these stories and be able to tell people a little bit more about what we do as an organization. I think a lot of times people just see us, they see the helicopter and they know that we're in the air and that we're picking up patients. And really there's so much more to it than that. And, that includes everything from, the witnesses on the ground or the person who makes the 911 call or the dispatchers who decide that, we're the right people for the job to go and, and then imagine caring for patients inside a helicopter and all of the tools and skills and techniques and everything that goes into caring for these very critically ill and injured patients. So we just wanted to find a way to share that story in a different way and take a little bit of a deeper dive.
And talking a little bit more specifically, obviously, we don't want to spoil too much for anybody who is interested in listening to the podcast, but this first season of the program does follow a single experience. So could I just get you to provide a bit of a teaser on what people can expect from that?
So it's a bit of a cliffhanger. So you kind of have to keep tuning in to find out how it's going to end. Without giving away too much, obviously the ending is super fantastic for our patient. But there is a twist to it. So essentially this biologist is working in a very remote region in northern Alberta. And she's attacked by a cougar. It's a horrible attack. And we had to include graphic warnings because there's just some pieces of it that were so harrowing. Anyways, she's attacked. There's electrical storms in the area. Communication is awful. It took them many, many tries, her coworkers, many, many tries to get the call out to 911 to get us there. There was a little bit of, dodgy weather in the area, and we don't fly or put our crews at risk if, they're not going to be able to make it out and back. So we had to find a window that we could actually get out there to find her. And, the roads were all washed out from the rains. And so initially they were going to send a ground ambulance, and it would have taken the very least 2 hours on good roads to actually get to her. So, we were determined to be the best mode of transport. And that's how these calls are always triaged, right? What's the best mode of transport and care for this patient? And and then we just talked to all of the people along the way, and not all of them, the majority of the people along the way who helped her, from the first coworker who made the 911 call to the folks at the scene who applied first aid and really made a difference before we were able to get there. And we speak to the pilots and how they made the decision to fly. And, obviously it was in the dark and in the mountains, so we needed night vision goggles. So we talk a little bit about the technology that we need to use to actually get to these patients. And then we interview the paramedic and nurse who cared for her along the way and talk about her injuries and her pain control and all of the things that we had to do to help her survive.
Thanks so much for your time today, Deb.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for reaching out.
Now, giving me the chance to collect myself, let's check in with Shelby Clark for your first look at weather.
Thanks so much, Tate. No problem. Now taking a first look at your weather forecast here in the border city. We saw a beautiful day today. If you stepped outside or even looked outside, we saw a much sunnier day. We are sitting at 4 degrees and we aren't seeing too much winds right now, so it does feel pretty nice out there. So hopefully everybody's going out there and enjoying this beautiful day and taking advantage. We will be seeing some more of this later on in the week. Now switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, we're seeing lots of 5 and 6 degrees on the map here. 3 3 degrees in Bonnyville, while it is 4 degrees in Marwin and St. Paul, 7 degrees in Lac-La-Biche, while Edmonton is seeing the warmest at that 8-degree point, and down in Wainwright and Provost, they are seeing 5 and 6 degrees. Now switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are seeing some warmer temperatures as well, some slightly cooler compared to the Alberta side. All across and St. Walburg seeing that 1-degree point, 2 degrees in Green Lake, while Meadow Lake is at 5, 3 degrees in Pearsland, while Maidstone and North Battleford are twinning with us here in the Border City at that 4-degree point, and Macklin is seeing 6. And for North Battleford overnight, they will be going down to a low of -8, so they won't be seeing too bad of an evening low compared to what they are sitting at. Then tomorrow they will be seeing that 0 point throughout the day, and they will be seeing a little bit more sun peeking behind those clouds. Cold Lake will be going down to a low of -9, so they will be cooling down quite a bit as well, but not too bad. They're still seeing those single-digit points for their evening lows, and tomorrow they will be seeing 3 degrees throughout the day, but they will be seeing a slightly more cloudier skies. And for us in the Border City, we'll be cooling down to a low of -7, so we won't be seeing too bad of an evening low either. We will be seeing, won't be seeing too much clouds in sight, so I would say, honestly, put those cords away for your vehicles. Won't be needing to plug in too much this week, which I think we're all excited to see. And then tomorrow we will be seeing that 1-degree point throughout the day, and we will be seeing a mix of some sun and cloud. And now showing off one of your photo submissions. Thank you to everyone that submitted some beautiful weather photos to our Facebook page. This one's from Natalie. It's a nice shot here. I thought it looked very cool, a little bit dark, and then it shows the sunset there. So beautiful, beautiful colors in those skies. I love some sunset shots, but thank you to everyone that submitted to our Facebook page. And that's all I got for now. Our Tate Laycraft will have more news coming up after the break.
The 2021-22 season has concluded for the Lloydminster Bobcats. In the regular season, the team went 30-26-4 and even earned a nod from the league, with Colby Thornton being named Goaltender of the Year. With a recap on the season, Evan Kenny has the interview.
The Lloydminster Bobcats wrapped up their season this past weekend, losing their first-round playoff matchup to the Drayton Valley Thunder, with the Thunder taking the series 4-1. Joining me now to sort of recap the Bobcats season as a whole is Lloydminster Bobcats head coach and general manager Nigel Dubé. Nigel, thank you for taking this time and hopping on with me. Now, obviously, not quite the finish that the team would have hoped for. However, as a whole, the season still very, very successful.
Yeah, I thought the season, it wasn't the finish that we wanted, but at the same time, it was a great season. You look back at last year, we weren't able to play. So you go from a rebuilding team to not being able to play, and to come out this year and to finish 5th in the North Division, which is extremely tough division, and a lot of steps in the right direction. 2 players committing to NCAA, a player committing to U Sport during the season. We'll have more to come on other ones. And then you have a top goaltender in the Alberta Junior League that hasn't been done with the Bobcats for over 10 years. So outside of that, it was a great year. There was a lot of positives, a step in the right direction for the organization. We've seen phenomenal crowds down the stretch. The Border City, I thought, really got behind the group of guys that we had, and that group was special. They were great kids, and it made fun. It made it going to the rink every day fun. And it was just a lot of joy to be around that group. And, I think it's an exciting future too, as well, in that room.
Now, last Friday's game was the final junior hockey game for a number of players on the team, specifically the 20-year-old graduating players. Now, Nigel, do you sort of have an overarching message for those 20-year-olds moving on?
Well, Chad McLean and Max Stewart played 3 years in the Bobcat jersey. And after the game on Friday, when we lost out, it's a special time, a sad time for the 20-year-olds when they're all done. We have 6 of them. But when we were able to have Chad McLean and Max Stewart be a part of our organization for 3 years and really be the backbone of turning things around inside that dressing room, it was just an appreciation to them, a sincere appreciation to them for what they've done, and also for the roots that they've laid in Lloydminster, and both fan favorites. One's a penalty minute leader, and the other one just a phenomenal hockey player. So those two guys, and Thorts has been with us for 2 years, and Finkeric came in, this season, and Ackle and Witz we acquired at the deadline. So a special 6 20-year-olds, I think, but just proud of what they were able to do. And I think they also taught our young guys a lot about the game and a lot about life.
And Nigel, on the flip side of that, let's talk about some of the young players who played a key role for the team this season. Really a plethora of youth coming up for the Bobcats. It's got to be pretty exciting just looking forward to the future.
Yeah, I think that was a big part. We were able to add pieces at the deadline without giving up our future, and that was even a bigger part. And you look at Leslie and Swanson up front, just two examples. Even a player like Connor Burke, I think he became one of the fan favorites down the stretch in the second half. And then on the back end, we didn't have a 20-year-old until the deadline. So we only brought in one, and we had 7 that were under 20 at the time, and there's obviously some great pieces here to build around, and as a staff, it's our job now to continue to build around it so that we don't idle here, that we continue to take another step forward, and that's our plan. But just an exciting group, and that young group, we had our exit meetings, and that young group has high expectations for themselves. That I think that's going to push themselves and the team further too. I chatting with Nick Hugendorn, that's coming back for a 19-year-old season, and just what he knows, what he needs to work on, and his excitement already to get going on that so he can be better next year. Chase Visser, we got Mason Franz as a 17-year-old, a nice mix. Jordan Borchuk, Ryan Schendel up front. They're just a good mixture of talent and role players with great people, and I think that's exciting for us too as well.
Well, Nigel, thank you so much for taking this time and joining me as well. Thank you for the countless hours of entertainment you gave Bobcats fans over the season. This was Nigel Dubé, head coach and general manager of the Lloydminster Bobcats.
Right now, taking a second look at your weather forecast, we'll be starting off with the central region of our provinces here. On the Alberta side, we have warmed up quite a bit, most spots seeing around 8 degrees, 7 in Rocky Mountain House and Whitecourt, while Red Deer and Jasper both sitting at that 6-degree mark. Now switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are still seeing those plus temperatures as well, so definitely have warmed up today compared to what they've been seeing yesterday. But compared to the Alberta side, they have cooled down just slightly. 2 degrees in Melfort, while it is 3 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, and North Battleford and Meadow Lake are twinning with us here in the border city at that 4-degree point, and Cold Lake is at 6. Now switching over to our northern region now of the provinces, they aren't looking too bad whatsoever, seeing most spots seeing those single-digit points, even though they are in that minus area. 2 degrees in Buffalo Narrows and La Loche, -2 in La Ronge and South End, while it's -4 in Flin Flon and Stony Rapids, and Wollaston Lake and Uranium City both sitting at -5. Switching over to this side now, they are looking a little bit warmer at those plus temperatures for sure, especially down in this area. They're even closer to that 10-degree point, 5 in Grand Prairie, while Slave Lake and Peace River at 6 and 7 degrees. Fort McMurray High Level both twinning at that 0 mark, and Fort Chipewyan is slightly cooler, just seeing -6. Now going over to our southern region now, they aren't struggling too much. They have almost reached that 10-degree point as well. 9 in Medicine Hat, while Lethbridge is sitting at 7 degrees. 8 in Calgary, and Coronation and Banff are slightly cooler at 4 and 6. Switching now over to this end here, they are seeing those plus temperatures as well, so definitely have warmed up quite a bit. 6 degrees in Moose Jaw and Swift Current, while it's 4 in Estevan. 2 degrees in Regina and Yorkton, and Kindersley is in that middle mark at 3. And now going back across the region is seeing what we will expect throughout the evening and throughout the night tonight. We will be seeing some nice evening lows for sure. We will be seeing those single-digit temperatures, which I think we all will be excited to see. Meadow Lake, Isle La Crosse, and Provost will be seeing a low of -5 degrees, while most spots, as you can see, will be seeing a low of -8, and Bonnyville will be just a step closer there to that low of -10 points. But we will be seeing those single-digit points, and I would say we probably wouldn't even need to be plugging in our vehicles or anything whatsoever. We will be seeing a beautiful evening. And now ending off with our 3-day forecast for here in the border city, we will be seeing a nice day tomorrow to continue on this warm pattern with that 1 degree throughout the day, but we will be seeing some slightly cloudier skies. So it may feel a slightly cooler tomorrow, but hopefully that sun will peek out a little bit more later on. Friday will be starting off this beautiful weekend a lot sunnier on Friday, and we will be seeing a low of -4. So I would say take advantage of this nice weather. Go out there and take a stroll at Bud Miller if you want, maybe even go for a run. I know a lot of us have been hibernating through that winter season, so I think exercise is well needed. But Friday we'll see a little bit more sun to start off the weekend, and then Saturday will cool down just slightly to that -1 point throughout the day, and we will be seeing a mix of some sun and cloud on Saturday. That is another look at your weather forecast. Our Tate Laycraft will have more news coming up after the break.
We're back again this week with Stephanie Dobson. Stephanie is a lawyer and mediator at Henke Divorce Law and Mediation here in Lloydminster. And this is another episode of Healthy, Thriving Family After Divorce. Now, Stephanie, the past few weeks we've been talking about spousal support, and we're going to break it down even further today and talk about what happens when one spouse retires. So in case the viewers didn't see last week's episode or catch it all, let's talk about why retirement matters when it comes to spousal support.
Sure. So very briefly, spousal support can be changed in one of two ways, either by doing what's called a review of spousal support or a variation of spousal support. And again, these are legal terms. So in the context of retirement, spousal support could be reviewed if the court order or the agreement actually states that support is to be reviewed when one spouse retires. So essentially, it's provided for in the documentation. For a variation, the applicant wanting to change would have to prove that there's been what's called a material change of circumstances. And again, that's another legal term, since the order was made or the agreement was reached. So retirement in this case could certainly be considered such a material change of circumstances, but it's all depending on the facts. So I thought this would be an interesting topic given that there is a 2022 decision from the Court of Queen's Bench of Alberta called Kelly and Gammon, which addresses this very topic of the impact of retirement on support.
Well, and Stephanie, how do you know if retirement is actually considered a material change in circumstances?
Well, actually, the opening question in the decision of Kelly and Gammon is exactly this. So the court had to decide whether retirement was reasonable in the circumstances so as to allow this material change, warranting that change to spousal support. So the answer in that case was yes. So allow me to explain a little bit further. So in this case, the paying spouse's income at the time of the original order was $186,000. At the time of the original order, it had been contemplated that retirement was on the horizon, and this event happening, this retirement happening, would meet that materiality test. So the question then became, was the timing and the circumstances of the retirement defensible, or was it done to circumvent his spousal support obligation? And very often that's what these cases do turn on.
So what goes into the defensibility of retirement?
Well, there's a number of cases that help us to figure that out. And I thought I would just give a few examples here of where the court has accepted retirement as reasonable. So first, a payor's lifelong plans for retirement. So the court said in another case called Lewis and Lewis in 2009 that the decision of when to retire from a lifelong career is a personal matter into which the court should not interfere without exceptional circumstances. Second, there might be evidence that the payor qualified to take their full pension. So on the flip side to this, depending on the circumstances, the choice to take early retirement could actually work against the payor who's looking to change support based on those retirement plans. Third, the discussions during the relationship as to retirement plans. So the court in Kelly and Gammon stated that it's not unreasonable to have had plans during the relationship to retire at a certain age, and then argue that those plans are no longer reasonable post-separation. So you can't kind of change your mind post-separation that this was not reasonable.
So if retirement is a material change of circumstances, Stephanie, then what?
Well, if so, then the question becomes, well, what do we do with that support award? Is it reduced? Is it ended forever? Is there a limitation put on it, as in a certain number of more years, then it will end? Or sometimes it's even a step down approach. For the next number of months or years, it's this amount, and then it's lower and lower and lower. So of course, there's a few different various options. So the question really comes down to whether the court will accept that retirement is reasonable and justified in the particular circumstances. So if so, then the question is, what is the income of the paying spouse's post-retirement? What is the income of the spouse post-retirement? And then what amount will be payable going forward? And if the court does not accept it, then the court can set an amount, an income level that it deems reasonable for the purpose of spousal support, as if the paying spouse was not retired.
All right, Stephanie, well, there's just so much when it comes to this subject. It's unbelievable the amount of different things that you have to consider when it comes to spousal support. If anybody is looking to get more information on this, Stephanie, what is the best way to reach you?
So they can call our office at 780-875-2234, or they can visit our website, henkadivorce.ca.
All right, Stephanie, well, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thanks, Stacey.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Today for Primetime Local News, I'm joined with Tigra Lee Campbell, one of the co-founders of Lloydminster and Vermilion for Equity. And this Sunday, they're hosting a March donation drive / fundraiser to raise donations and funds for vulnerable members of the community. So thank you so much, Tigra Lee, for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, do you mind letting us know a little bit more about this event and what it's all about?
Yeah, for sure. So we are having a March donation drive / fundraiser. We do mutual aid and community outreach once a week out of Residents in Recovery right now. And we are looking to add to our donations as they are starting to dwindle a little bit. We are solely volunteer and donation run. So everything is either bought with monetary donations that we collected from the community, or it comes out of our pockets. Throughout the winter, we run out of a lot of things. So like most of our sweaters and jackets and a lot of our men's clothes we've run out of. So we are looking for primarily donations for men's clothing, but also like a couple other things like tarps and tents and sleeping bags, like snacks for lunches, and hygiene products, things like that. Socks, always socks, always socks.
And where will this be held, and what time will it be at?
So it will be on Sunday, March 20th at Residents in Recovery at 1 p.m. We usually do our mutual aid outreach on Sundays at Residents in Recovery, so it just makes more sense to tie it all into one day.
And you had mentioned a few items earlier, but what are some items on your guys' wish list that you are hoping to get?
Socks, new men's and ladies underwear. We could really, really use those. Men's clothing, like I said, like sweaters, jackets, pants, tarps, blankets, like sleeping mats, tents, hygiene products, so toothbrushes, toothpaste, reusable bags of any sort. So like even the Walmart reusable bags, string bags, backpacks, those really go a long way. And like individually wrapped snacks that we can kind of put like bag lunches together with, those are really appreciated too. I know there are more things on that list, but if we do have posters up as well. So if you visit our page, LVE, Lloydminster and Vermilion for Equity page, then you can see the posters there as well. Anyone is free to join that page. We do have a group as well that we post in. You do have to request to be a member of the group. And we're also under a collective called Turtle Island Mutual Aid Collective, where we have 3 different mutual aid organizations across Alberta under that one collective. So if you look for that Turtle Island Mutual Aid Collective, you can see us there as well.
And with this fundraiser, you guys are providing hot dogs and hamburgers to those who provide donations and money. So how are you guys going about doing that?
Yeah, so if you, anyone who brings in a donation you can either get a hamburger or a hot dog. If you bring in a monetary donation, you can get a hamburger or a hot dog. We're definitely not going to turn anyone away. If you're hungry, just come and eat. So that's how that will work. I know that Brad and I usually bake something too and have a kind of a bake-off challenge. So we will see if that will happen this week as well. If anyone would like to donate hot dogs, hamburgers, and buns as well, that would help us out for sure.
So what are some things that your street team and your group do to help the vulnerable community?
So we provide them with warm clothing, hygiene products, conversations, peer support, harm reduction, and just a sense of community. And we get to see some of the same people out every week, which is really good. So the trust is there, and the relationship building is there, and that's really cool to see. So yeah, it is. Even just a conversation really goes a long way to not feel seen or to not feel heard. It really affects mental health. And I can relate to that. And so I see the value in it.
And lastly, is there anything else that you would like to mention about this event?
We are usually there a little bit earlier to set up, and there's people waiting every week when we show up to get in. So we'll be there a bit earlier. Bring down your donations. Every little bit counts.
Well, I'm so happy to be able to share a little bit more information about this event happening this Sunday. So thank you again for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Ending off with taking a quick look at your 7-day forecast. We will be seeing a nicer day tomorrow with that 1 degree point with a mix of some sun and cloud. Friday will be starting off the weekend with a lot more sun, so get ready to take advantage of these nice temperatures with spring coming up around the corner here. Then next week we will continue that single-digit point pattern there next Monday with a lot more sun at that 0 mark. And then Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be seeing 2 degrees next Tuesday and -3 next Wednesday.
Thank you very much, Shelby. That right there, though, is all the time we have for this first hour of our show. If you missed anything, you can catch more news coming up.